Gaming sucks in 2022. Modern Warfare 2 beta was pretty much a flop, and Halo 3 Throwback Throwdown left us not feeling like a throwback or a throwdown, but just a letdown in general. Welcome to the Around the Ring podcast, and joining me, someone that a lot of people have wanted to see on this channel more and more often, someone who they've wanted to see me collaborate with, Popq2. How you doing, buddy?
Yo, I'm good. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing okay. Had my ups and downs. This week in particular, I know that a lot of people have heard about this. I was in the hospital for a couple of hours. Not really going to get into that. Basically dehydration, that simple. But we've talked about doing this for quite some time, and we've had little teases of like you popping into live streams and stuff like that. But we actually sat down and came up with a list of topics we kind of wanted to talk about. And you have been over on your channel kind of killing it. You've been putting out a number of views this week alone.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to be more consistent, upload more frequently. You know, I've tried this a couple times in the past, and I just fall out of it. And but this time I'm trying to stick with it. I'm trying to be consistent.
Yeah, like that happens to all of us. I've done that. You've done that. I know tons of YouTubers have done that. And the big thing is with a lot of this is that it does get tiresome. Either you see a peak of good results and then it starts to dwindle and then you just get demotivated, or life gets in the way. Like, one of the things that I've always compared this to is when your life is going amazing, your social media presence and your YouTube and your streaming and all that goes down to the shitter. But whenever your real life is going to the shits, your social media life and everything is going great. Like, that's how it's always been for me. Which
you got to find that. You got to find that balance. I mean, for me though, I think one of the main reasons like I don't upload for, you know, periods at a time is because like I'll run into technical difficulties all the time, man. Like that's my main thing, man. Like right now I'm dealing with an issue where when I render out a video, the editing program just crashes every time. So I have to edit the video out in parts, in sections, and then re-render it all together every time now. It's just really, really annoying.
We've got a number of things we can, kind of catch up on. I haven't done this podcast since, the first one I did with Kevin, because I kind of like took a break and then I came back and then I took another break. I've been on and off, but we just got done with a couple of things that were kind of big, news topics in the community. But Modern Warfare 2 2022 beta, like, honestly, I did one night of that beta and I didn't come back the second week whenever they did the PC beta. I played it on the PS5 because I got a free code.
Oh, and you did?
Yeah, I got a free code and I wasn't impressed. The maps suck. The way you level up weapons, I get what they're going for. I don't like it because, and this is how I've always done it, and maybe this is just me being a traditionalist. You can tell me what you think, but whenever it comes to weapons, I like to focus on one weapon, master that weapon, get used to that weapon before I, go and flip-flop around and do every single weapon. I know what they're going for by having you do different weapons in the same, type of weapon, but it honestly kind of feels like, well, what if I want to play it my way? That's been done for what, like 20 years now, something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of the changes they made with Modern Warfare 2 are questionable at best, or Modern Warfare 22. I hate the name right out the gate. Let's just talk about the name for a second. The name, yeah. I hate how we name shit now, man. Like Modern Warfare 2, when obviously there's already another Modern Warfare 2. It's just so irritating. It's like Battlefield 1, when it wasn't even the first Battlefield. Xbox One, when it's. I hate the way shit is fucking named now. It is
Mortal
so stupid.
Kombat 2009. Or was it 2011? No, it was 2011. And then they did the remaster. Yeah.
And you have Xbox One X, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, like it's just confusing. Like I don't get how how this is a good thing, but whatever.
The only companies that I know who have kept a simple naming scheme are PlayStation and Apple. The iPhone 13, the iPhone 14, the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
they kept it simple. Right. And guess what? They're winning the market, Xbox, and that doesn't help that your games are absolutely trash. And even though you own more companies than Sony does at this point, but I guess we could talk about that too. But back to Modern Warfare 2 2022. The thing with this game is it feels just like Modern Warfare 2019 like 1.5, you know? Like it feels like an update off of that, if I'm being honest.
It's more like Modern Warfare 2019 than it is like the actual Modern Warfare 2 from 2009. And I would love a good remaster. If they remastered Modern Warfare 2 like they remastered COD 4, that would be great, because COD 4 Remastered is probably my favorite Call of Duty game of all time.
Okay, we can talk about that in a little bit. I had a
no.
Yeah, I had a disagreement with you in your video. I watched
your
video.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, but go ahead.
But you mentioned the weapon unlock system with Modern Warfare 2, and I think it's terrible. It's change for the sake of change. You have to use certain weapons to unlock other weapons. I prefer just unlocking the weapons at a certain level. You reach level 7, you unlock this weapon. You have to use like one of the marksman rifles. I think they call them battle rifles. You have to use one of them to unlock, I believe, the MP5, a submachine gun. That's just silly. Like, that is not a better system than what we had before. There were so many attachments and weapons that I just didn't unlock during the beta, because I wasn't playing the stupid game of, oh, I gotta go use this weapon to unlock that weapon. I'm not doing that shit. Fuck that. I mean, that was my attitude. So I pretty much just used the M4 the whole time.
Yeah, like for me, I used the M4. I used the other assault rifle. I can't even remember the weapons that were in that, because you know what sucks, and this is something that I talked about in my live stream. Why don't they just drop the extra money to get the original, like, actual weapon names, like to get a license to use the actual weapon names?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Like, you know, like, it throws me off. Like, you know, you could look at PUBG and they use the actual weapon names. Like, why can't COD do that? COD's a much bigger company. COD is a much bigger, you know, IP. Yet they're not willing to spend that kind of money, or like, what's the deal with that?
I mean, I guess that's just what it is. I guess they're just not willing, even though they definitely have it. They definitely could, but they just opt for these made up names, I guess.
Yeah, like I guess that's their way to save a little bit of coin. But all right, here's the thing that I've also seen kind of talked about: the perk system and the kill streak system. Like, there's now two different ways to do the kill streak system. Either the points way, which we've seen throughout the like more modern, you know, late 2010 COD game, or you could go to the traditional, like, get this many kills. So you have either you can work towards it with points, or you can go on a hot kill streak. Like, do you feel like that's a good addition, or do you think having that as like a, you know, either or is going to be like a good thing?
It's hard to say. I think I had the kills to get to earn kill streaks enabled, not the score streak. So I don't know how I feel about that. I've never been I mean, it's kind of weird to say, but I've never been a huge fan of like kill streaks in COD, really. It's not my favorite part of the game. And honestly, I might even like the game more if there weren't kill streaks, if I'm being completely honest. I know that's a hot take, but
that's it. That is definitely a hot take.
I like, some people aren't happy with the kill streaks in this new Modern Warfare 2 because of like they're not that great. And people, they point to they look back at the kill streaks in Modern Warfare 2 from 2009 and how good the AC-130 was and the chopper gunner. But that shit was just OP. Like, that shit was ridiculous. And then you could use that to get the nuke. So I'm really not that big of a fan of kill streaks. I'm not saying Call of Duty shouldn't have kill streaks. I'm just saying personally, that's never been my favorite part of the game.
Well, and what sucks about like kill streaks is, and if you were a smart player, right? When you heard that AC-130 up, unless you had your perks right and everything else, you didn't pop out, because even if you had like, you know, cold-blooded and all that, and you weren't like visible on the screen, they could still easily see you moving around. But you also needed to make sure you had rockets and, you know, homing rockets and all that to take it out. But the main thing is that if you were smart, you just stay inside. Like, let's say you're on Afghan, right? You're on Afghan caves. You just hide inside the caves or one of the buildings and stay as far away from the windows as you possibly could until that kill streak was over. Either that, or you can try.
If you can get in. If you can make it inside.
Exactly.
There's maps like Wastelands is very open. If you're spawning out on the outskirts of that map, it's hard to find cover.
Exactly. But like, when it comes, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you also mentioned the perk system.
Perk system. A lot of people were complaining about that. I personally wasn't paying much attention to the perks.
Damn.
I was paying attention mostly, and maybe this is me being narrow-minded, but I was paying attention to the maps and how I was enjoying those maps and the weapons. Those to me are like two of the most important things in the game.
Yeah, maps matter a lot.
Yeah.
And that was also one of my main focuses because I hate the maps.
Mm-hmm.
I do. But just to comment on the perk system, like right in Modern Warfare 2, I think you earn perks as the match progresses. So
right,
based off of I think you start the match with. Is it based on how you perform, or is it just a time thing?
I honestly,
I'm pretty sure it was just a time thing. At a certain time, everybody unlocks their second perk and then their third perk, and then they've reduced the time actually from feedback. That's one of the very, very little feedback that they did listen to. But so I think it's just based on time. I don't really know how I feel about it. It is what it is. I mean, I'm kind of indifferent about that.
Right. Like for me, I don't mind. A lot of people wanted them to bring back the pro system. Like they wanted them to bring back, unlocking, sleight of hand pro and, pro perks, which were a popular thing back in like Black Ops, 1, Black Ops 2, and did Black Ops 2 have pro? I think they did. I'm pretty sure
I don't
they
know.
did.
I didn't play Black Ops 2.
But you were talking about Modern Warfare Remastered, right?
Yes.
That game, I have a love-hate relationship with because back then I was paying attention to the news. And if you remember, that game, what you had to do to get Modern Warfare Remastered was you had to buy Infinite Warfare, which was a dog shit fucking game. Everyone hated it. It was the most disliked video on YouTube that year. And I think it was like up there for a long time as the most disliked. But the fact that you had to buy the limited edition just to get that game was bullshit. And what's scummy about it, and this is why I don't like it, is for a couple of reasons. First, they said, well, we're only going to have 4 maps. We're only going to have 4 maps. Then the criticism came in and they listened to it. And then on launch, I think they came out with more maps, and then there was more that came like with a future update. But then they also said, well, we're never going to release this by itself or as a physical copy. Well, they went back on that too. So basically people who had to shill out money to buy Infinite Warfare got the shit end of the stick because they were told and informed that they would never be able to buy this by itself. Then we get into the microtransactions, and I guess this can kind of go into our other topic here in a second. But we remember when this came out, they said, oh, well, it's just going to be skins. It's just going to be skins. And then they added the melee weapons. And they're like, oh, well, this is as far as we're going to go, is just, the melee weapons. Not a big deal. And then they got in the actual, like, overpowered, insane guns. So you had people gambling trying to get these guns because they were literally just crushing lobbies.
Well, I did not like that they started adding new guns. I wasn't crazy about that. But for me, I didn't feel like those guns really changed much at all. I felt like I could still dominate using the guns that were already in the game, like Red Dot on the M16. I used the M21 sniper with an ACOG, MP5 silenced on vacant, like, depending on what map I'm on. And I didn't feel like the new weapons changed that much, but I wasn't a fan of them adding them really, personally. As for the release of the game, you mentioned it was bundled with Infinite Warfare. You had to get Infinite Warfare if you wanted to play Remastered. I actually don't know how the hell I was playing Remastered back in the day, because I know I did not buy Infinite Warfare, and I also know I didn't buy COD 4 Remastered when it got its standalone release. So I don't know exactly how I was playing it, but I had access to the game somehow.
You had somehow. Like it had to have been one way or another. And you were talking about the weapons back then. I mean, AK-47 with a suppressor on was death on a stick. Like people like say, oh, you never put a silencer on an AK-47. In Modern Warfare 1 you did. On Modern Warfare 1 you sure as hell fucking did, because it was a death machine, to be brutally honest. But I remember just feeling so burnt. I loved that game. That game was fun. It was a great remaster, and it was one of the things that like a lot of people even though they hated Infinite Warfare, even though they were frustrated by how they were marketing it, how they were, I mean, remember, they re-released the DLC, the DLC maps. Instead of, I think it was a $15 original price tag for that map pack, they charged $20 or something like that. It was something insane that they bumped up the price for instead of giving it as free content. And or at least keeping the same price for the map pack.
Yeah, that's just greed. I mean, that map pack wasn't even that great anyway.
Right,
so
exactly.
Like, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
Right, and then they did tons of free updates for holidays. Like Bog had the summer version and stuff like that.
Beach Bog, yeah, I played the shit out of Beach Bog, man. I was on there, man. I was grinding. That is a good example of how to do a remaster.
Yeah,
because it was great. I like the remaster better than the original COD 4. I like the additions that they made to it. It's a better looking game than the original COD 4, and yet the maps still look the same. It still looks like COD 4. It wasn't any drastic changes to the visuals. I like that they added the medals when you get kills and shit.
Yeah,
they had medals that popped up top.
They updated
that's important to me.
They updated the UI for basically the multiplayer and the XP system. Because remember, back in the day, whenever you got a kill, it wasn't 100 XP per kill. It was 10. It was 10 XP. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
But with that whole thing, with Modern Warfare, you talked about in your video, like, you know, everyone plays the new hot game and they say it's trash, but they just force themselves to play. Why don't we go back and repopulate some of these older games that we love because they did the shit well? I mean, that does kind of make me wonder, why don't people go back and repopulate Modern Warfare, you know, Remastered, whenever it was a great game that still had a ton of content that you can earn and play over and over again and have good experiences? If people don't like what they've changed with Modern Warfare 2 or any of the games since that game came out in, like, what, 2016, 17? I think it was 2016. Yeah,
I think so. And yeah, like, I think if you check on Steam charts right now, I think COD Remastered only has a couple people on it. Like, and that's it. And when I've searched for games in the older CODs, I can't find matches. I think there's Plutonium. I think that's what people use to play the older CODs on PC now. But I think you have to own the games on PC to be able to play that. And then I don't have all the games, so and plus I just haven't set up Plutonium.
Yeah,
but still, it'd be nice for people to go back and just repopulate games like COD 4 Remastered on Steam. Like, people say they love that game, but I don't know. A lot of people will just opt to play whatever's new, even if it sucks.
You know what's funny?
There's some people that'll just buy COD every year. I don't do that. There's plenty of CODs that I haven't bought. And if I don't like a game, like, if I'm not having fun at all in a game, I'm not going to force myself to play it just because it's new. That's stupid.
Right. You know what's funny is that I think that with Modern Warfare Remastered, and maybe this is a mentality thing, people until like after that game came out really didn't see COD as a PC game. They really didn't. A lot of them like played it on console. I mean, still, I can find games of Modern Warfare Remastered on Xbox One and probably PS4 more than I could on PC. But here's the downside: you have to pay for Xbox Live, and I'm not gonna fucking do that anymore. I literally don't have a subscription to either service anymore. And with me, I would love to see these games get repopulated and be more lively because they were good games. But unfortunately, it's FOMO. It's like the fear of missing out on the hot new title. You know what I mean? It sucked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is what it is. But, you know, you mentioned how, like, COD, it was never really seen as a PC title. But I think that's just like PC blowing up just in general.
Yeah,
in recent years, like, many people have switched over to PC.
Yeah,
I used to be exclusively like Xbox. Well, I started with PlayStation. Then I went to Xbox, and then finally PC. And the main reason I stayed on Xbox so long is because of Halo. Once that came to PC, you know, I made the switch with it.
Oh yeah, no, and that makes sense. But with Modern Warfare 2, they're also updating Warzone. And what's sad about that is all the locations that we were hoping to play in the campaign or, you know, in the multiplayer seem to be just put into Warzone, which is an entirely free-to-play section of the game. You don't need to own Modern Warfare 2 to play Warzone 2 or Warzone 2.0, right? You can play it and you don't even have to worry about owning the main game unless you want to like worry about leveling up your guns and getting all your attachments and stuff. And you know, I agree with you. I did see the point in your video where you're like, you know, I feel like I have to watch a guide to know what the best build is for these guns. And it's true, like for the years you have to like watch the FaZe Clan douchebags, and you have to watch all of those kind of people to understand what is the meta, what is the ideal way to build this gun, because there's so many attachments and it's so convoluted now. I mean, it's nice, but it is an overly convoluted experience.
Yeah, that's just too much customization. The gunsmith in Modern Warfare 22. Like, I can understand a lot of variety in like cosmetic customization, sure, but this is customization that changes how your weapon function, right? And like I said in my video, I don't want to fuck around and like mess around with different configurations. I just want whatever the best shit is. Like I don't really care like how many options there are. I want the best shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like I gotta look up a guide on like the best configurations for each weapon, and then I'll use that.
Right, and the videos always open up with, hey guys, welcome back to the FaZe Clan show. Anyways, you want to put no stock on this gun. You want to make sure that you are using the ACOG 2.3 or 0.5 sight with the 40 round mag. Now, you don't want to use the 40 round mag with the FMJ rounds. You want to use it with these. It's so complicated, and I have to like pause those videos just to try and follow with what the fuck they're saying, because I have to scroll through the menu, and you have to literally, it's a scroll, guys. It's a scroll. You have to scroll through the type of like attachment until you find it, because there's probably multiple short stocks and, you know, long barrels and everything else, and you have to scroll through that shit just to find the one attachment that these guys are talking about. And sometimes I've put the wrong attachment on nonetheless. I'm like, why is this perform like shit? Oh, I used the one wrong attachment.
Yeah, the UI for that game is a mess. I can't even explain. I can't even put into words how bad it really was. But yeah, people had issues inviting friends. There was issues navigating through the menus. There was one point where I selected a weapon, and then I viewed the weapon progression, but it was showing me the progression for a separate weapon that I didn't have selected. It's just some really weird shit. Like, UI for that game is terrible.
Right. Well, and one of the things that people were praising whenever they did the big reveal, and this is something that I think could be a good addition and could work, but the idea of having like its own built-in communication system, like its own, like, you know, private rooms for different groups and stuff like that, like they showed how you could build that out and everything and make it look really cool. That's a great idea, and a lot of people are saying, why doesn't Halo do something like this? Well, they used to. They used to have the clan system back in Halo 2 and stuff like that, and you know, there used to be tons of ways to communicate. But here's the thing, you know, Discord has kind of killed that off. Discord, you know, back in the day, people would use Skype, you know, TeamSpeak and stuff. They would rather use that than Xbox Live once like the internet really became, you know, the big thing. And a lot of people weren't playing on their big screen TVs. They were playing at their desktops, and they would have their PC on one side, and then they would have their, you know, monitor with their game on.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that like modern like programs and social media have kind of replaced, things that used to be in game that you do outside of game now. But I still think there's a benefit of having that stuff in game, like having a friends list and the clan system and voice messaging and all that stuff. Like that was in Halo 2. That was part of Halo 2. And I think it's really nice to have that stuff like in game. You know, the file share is something that hasn't really gotten a ton of love in recent years with Halo. You can no longer take screenshots on Halo the Master Chief Collection. And, you know, you can share screenshots on social media now, but like, I still think there's a benefit of having that in game, putting it on your in your file share. And then if you had pregame lobbies, players could view those screenshots on your file share. So it's still worth having those features in game.
Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, definitely. There's tons of ways now. Like, if we're brutally honest, there's tons of ways now that you can share a clip or a screenshot on social media. Like literally on Steam, you just press the screenshot, you know, hotkey, you've got your screenshot right there. Or, you know, you have the Xbox, you know, controller. I've got one right here to my left, and there's literally a dedicated key, you know, button for taking screenshots and stuff now. Like there's tons of ways to do it now, but at the same time, having, you know, theater mode, and that's the one of the big things. Theater mode doesn't even fucking work, you know? It doesn't. It just outright doesn't. Infinite. Right. So if you weren't already recording, or you didn't have like because I hate having this on Elgato's programs, the instant replay, you know, buffer thing. I don't usually have that on because it just takes up a ton of like RAM and space. I don't usually have that active, but I'll just have my recorder. Unless you have that recorder open, guess what? You're gonna miss that moment because you go back into theater mode. Well, you weren't aiming at the guy you killed. You were aiming at a rock. You killed that rock, my dude. You know,
theater mode in Halo Infinite is chalked. But one thing I wanted to mention, since you brought up film clips and how there's multiple different ways to record clips with like Xbox DVR, or you have Shadow Play, OBS. There's multiple ways to do this, and then there's multiple places to share it: YouTube, Twitter, whatever. But you know, when you the difference with that is, like, if you shared a clip in Halo 3, right? Like if you recorded a clip in theater mode and put that on your file share, somebody can download that and go into theater, and then they can watch that clip while having the ability to detach the camera, fly around, play it back in slow-mo, get different angles. That's a much better way to view a clip than just, you know, posting it on Twitter. Right, so again, still a benefit of having those features in game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think a lot of people agree that theater mode is one of those ideal things, especially, God, think of how good the cinematography, I'm using fancy words, but you know, the cinematography was of theater mode, and how people would do montages back in the Halo 3 and Halo Reach days. They were the
that was
best
so important
ever. Yeah, exactly. Now you don't have that with
theater. I was just in theater mode earlier today, and I was recording I was getting a bunch of cool shots for an upcoming video. And yeah, I love theater mode. I love it. Theater mode's a big deal to me. But yeah, you mentioned montages. Like, yeah, that really sucks not being able to save your clips, and then go in and record different angles for montages. Right. Not being able to do that is problematic.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Halo 3 and, you know, MLG, you know, high play moments and clips and stuff, this past week we had actually it was last Sunday. I know that we took a little time doing this podcast because of, you know, me. I was the holdup here. But we had the Halo 3 throwback throwdown and the reveal of the Pit remake for Halo Infinite. And I'm not going to lie, everyone I know was disappointed of this tournament as well as the Pit remake. Both were utterly disappointing. I was getting so excited. I was sitting there at my dad's place watching the live stream, right? Because he used to watch MLG with me. He knows who Team Instinct is. He knows who Triggers Down is. We used to love watching these teams, and we're like, oh, this is awesome. Can't wait to watch this. And then they revealed that they're going to be playing on Halo Infinite. And I was like, how does that make it a Halo 3 throwback throwdown? That's not a throwback throwdown. That's just, you're playing on, and you're going to do a remake. Oh, we're going to get a reveal of a new map. Oh, it's a remake of the Pit. It's a Forge map. And it's not even a good Forge map. It's a Forge map that looks like the Covenant tried to have a rave at the remains of the Pit. Like, it does not look good. I mean, the matches were good, but I would have much rather they had played Halo 3 MCC, or hell, if they would have gone back all the way to the original Halo 3 on 360. But even if they'd done MCC, I think that would have been a really enjoyable experience. But, you know, I understand that they're trying to push Infinite, but guess what? You promote it as Halo 3, not Halo Infinite throwback throwdown, Halo 3 throwback throwdown. Did you watch this tournament, like this series of matches?
No, I mean, I went back and I skimmed through the Pit matches for because I made a video on it, but I didn't watch it live. I watched a decent amount of it, honestly, of just those matches on the Pit. But yeah, I can't say I was too let down because I didn't really have high expectations. Yeah. I don't have high expectations when it comes to 343 and Halo. So I wasn't that disappointed, but what I thought they would probably do is maybe announce possibly a classic playlist with multiple
That's what everyone maps. Was talking about. That's
and
what
maybe they
saying.
Will. Maybe there's more maps to be revealed and we'll just have to wait and see. I don't know. But the map itself, the pit, it's a different aesthetic this time around, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
There's purple lights, yellow accents, and it's a Forge map. Like it would have been better if it was a developer made map.
It's not even a good Forge map. It looks ugly.
Compared to what we've already seen in Halo Infinite Forge, this Forge map doesn't look that great. And I'll tell you, like, I'm not against remaking a map with a different aesthetic, but it's just that this aesthetic just doesn't even compare to the original. Like the original looks much better, and with how advanced
compared to Halo 4.
Yeah, with how advanced Halo Infinite's Forge is supposed to be, you could probably make a damn good Halo 3 pit remake, like aesthetic and everything. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why they didn't go for that. They should have done that and to impress everybody at how good Halo Infinite's Forge is.
Right, exactly.
So, instead, they opted to do this. It doesn't look that great. The aesthetic and just the fact that it's in Forge doesn't look that great. And it's just, it is what it is.
Right. It doesn't do their Forge justice, right? They've been putting out these promotional videos, like showing how, advanced the Forge is now, which is cool and all that. And we've seen what the leakers have been able to do and what they've been able to create. But the fact that this isn't even playable on the anniversary of Halo 3, on top of that, it's not even playable on the anniversary of Halo 3. We have to wait until the November update. We have to wait until November. That is so let's see here, September, October, November, 2 months. Okay, 2 months we have to wait for this thing until it comes out. When all the excitement of Halo 3 is going to die.
Yeah, for a remake of a 2007 map.
Right, exactly. And there are talks of other Forge maps coming out for the big thing. Like, supposedly 343's reached out to the guy who made the Guardian remake through Forge. That I believe Arash has played, and so on and so forth, and a few others I've talked to have played. And it's a really good Forge. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, but the fact that they're reaching out to the forgers and they're not able to do this themselves in a way that is appealing and well done, just kind of, again, continues that trend of 343 is incompetent in doing anything. They can't run a tournament right. They can't make maps right. They can't even make Forge maps right. The community does it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just in shock there.
We just, there's not really much to say. They're incompetent. They've been incompetent, and that's just, it is what it is. Like, I'm not surprised anymore. Like, I made the video on the pit, not because I was surprised, just because I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm way past being surprised. Like I've said, they could delay season 3 another 10 times. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Not at all. So other people would be like, "Oh my God, they're delaying season 3 again." It's not surprising anymore. Like, I don't know who would be surprised by that at this point. They're just incompetent. Right. And they make terrible decisions. Right. It is what it is. We get it. I mean, I've known this, but other people have waken up. It is what it is.
Right.
And that's kind of where the whole #Fire343 movement came from.
Right. And we can talk about that a little bit if you're up for it. But with the whole thing, like, that's, like you said, you just wanted to talk about it. You weren't surprised by it. You weren't like excited or disappointed or anything. That's why I just did the YouTube short where I took, the whole scene and showing Halo 3 the pit, and then Halo Infinite the pit, and then having the meme with the rock there that goes, "This is the biggest piece of dog shit," like that whole joke. Yeah. Because I didn't have enough of a care to sit down and even talk about it until we did this podcast. Because you and me, like, I was just like, it'd be funner to talk about this with Popq. Like, it would be a good back and forth. And I did watch your review. I thought it was really good. But yeah, no, I totally understand. You weren't surprised. It was literally just like, well, it's the standard, typical 343 agenda. It's nothing to be amazed by.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
go ahead.
And I was gonna say, yeah, like I do want to like just drive that point home a little bit. Is that like, yeah, a lot of the time when I make Halo videos now, it's not because I'm surprised. It's not because I was let down. It's just, I just felt like discussing it, right? Sometimes I'll get comments and like people will tell me like, "Dude, it's just time to, gotta move on, dude. Like, if you don't like it, then don't play it or whatever." First off, I'm not playing the game. I haven't played it since the second day of season 2. And it's just like, it's like, it's not that I still have a ton of faith in Halo. Like, again, it's just that sometimes I want to talk about things. Just because I make a video about it does not mean that I'm just like a slave to Halo or anything like that. I just felt like talking about it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like with me, whenever it came to the Bonnie Ross thing, like that was the biggest shakeup we had seen in a while. And we talked about this on a live stream with you, me, and Hazov, which got pretty, honestly, it was a lot of fun. Like that's where I was like, you know what, you and me need to sit down and do like a longer form show or live stream or something together. But when it came to that whole, you know, hashtag Fire343, that rolled on and that was trending for multiple days. That's how tired the community and people are about, you know, Halo Infinite and the company in general. And the biggest, you know, argument that people could come up with, you know, in defense of it is, well, we haven't given them enough time. Bull freaking shit.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here with that. Whoever say, if you say 343, they need more time. They didn't have enough time. You're not allowed to have an opinion. Get the fuck out of
here. Yeah. No, like it's serious. Like unless like the person has just joined the Halo community and doesn't know the history of what this community's been through with this company, I seriously do not think that like someone could really think that. I mean, I even saw people that usually would stand up for 343, you know, basically saying, look, you know, I get everyone's disappointed, and including myself, but like, do we really need to fire everyone? Me personally, whenever the hashtag came out, I didn't think that everyone needed to be fired. And this is my hot take, and this is what people have like said, that I'm a 343 simp and stuff like that. I don't think everyone needs to be fired, but there's a certain group of people in that studio that have been there long enough. They've had their chances and they need to go. There's people in the management, there's people in the community manager roles that need to go. And I know that like people just want the entire company dissolved. You know, we've talked about maybe putting a new name on the company, because that name just reminds you of a shit stain that has like basically rubbed off on a pair of underwear that is Halo. You know, it's sad, because I personally think that there are good people in that studio that just are kind of like under the thumb of management. Like that's just my opinion. But
yeah, I mean, I never looked at like the individual people at 343 that much. Usually when I talk about 343, I'm just talking about the company as a whole, right?
Yeah.
There might be some good, I'm sure there's some good developers there. Maybe some bad one. I don't know. But I'm not here to speculate on like what the individual developers are like. All I know is 343 has been making Halo for the last 10 years or whatever it's been. And it's been shit. And it's time for a change. Something needs to change. When you've mishandled such a huge, successful, profitable franchise like this, mishandled it this badly for so long, there needs to be change.
Drastic change.
Like, yeah, that's where I think the Fire 343 comes from. Like, people want to see change. Like, Halo could still be very successful. It could be. It like in the modern era, it could still be huge, but not when 343 is making the mistakes that they are. And something I wanna throw out there is that like I could understand Bungie did incredible work back in the day, right?
Yeah,
they did incredible work with their games. So it wouldn't surprise me if 343 or any other developer wasn't able to live up to what the greatness that Bungie created. Like, so it's not like I'd be hating on 343 until they've done exactly what Bungie has done. No, I get Bungie was just built different. I get that. But 343, they're just making mistakes that they shouldn't be making. Like, they are just incompetent. They just have no idea what they're doing. They're not even close. They're making awful decisions.
Right. If these were like 2012 Halo 4 mistakes that like, oh, you know, we're trying to get it updated and stuff, and we're trying to keep up with what the expectations are. Okay, that would have been 2012. That's been right when they would really be getting underway as, you know, being in charge of Halo. It's 2022. It's been 10 years. You know, they've had every excuse. They've had every, you know, setback you could possibly think of. They've had every person that they could defend, you know, their actions. And, you know, it's sad because there's a lot of people out there that, and you know, I'm not going to say names or anything, that I've talked to publicly and privately, and they'll say one thing privately, and then in public they'll be like hype. This is so good. This is such great shit, and then privately they'd be like, I'm just afraid to move on. I'm afraid to do something else. I'm afraid that my channel will die or something. So their protection as a content creator or an influencer in the Halo niche or this community is more important to them than their integrity. That's what I've noticed.
And yeah, something I had a thought. What was I gonna say? I'm drawing a blank.
That's what.
Something I was gonna say was this: that some people say, like, we look at Halo 4, we look at Halo 5 as like failures. Like these games just weren't. They were unsuccessful, but in the eyes of Microsoft, they were probably very profitable games, and I get that. I'm sure they generated a bunch of revenue, Halo 4 and Halo 5. I don't doubt that. As for Infinite, though, I think Infinite is just underperforming. Like there's no way they're making what they should be from this game, with the fact that multiplayer is free to play, campaign you could play on Game Pass, and the store isn't even great. Like the store isn't even that good.
Right.
And the items in it, a lot of people just don't even care about. So this has to be like a financial failure for Microsoft. Like I'd imagine it would be, at least at this point right now. Like there's no way they are making what they should be from a AAA fucking Halo game that was in development for 6 years. Like, come on now.
Right, exactly. And like back to the microtransaction thing, because that was something that we discussed to death privately. But when it comes to their microtransactions, and here comes the comments of 343 Sims, but they're probably the most reasonably priced microtransactions in the entire the out of a number of AAA first-person shooters or even other types of games. When it comes to microtransactions, they're probably the most honestly priced microtransactions, but their quality basically speaks for the price. The quality of them aren't Apex Legends or COD level microtransactions. They're I don't even know what you would call the level of them, F tier level microtransactions that literally like someone who's in school can make. But,
yeah,
go ahead.
The prices aren't anything crazy compared to other games. I can't speak for every game with microtransactions, but the prices aren't they just aren't as bad as other games. Like people tell me, oh no, they are bad, man. Like they shouldn't be charging $20 for skins, or I think they reduced it to like 10. And I get that some of those items in Halo Infinite store are not worth $10, but then I also see people just complaining in general that there is a skin for $10. And I'm just like, have you played any other game? Like there's so many other games with microtransactions that are priced way higher than this. So yeah, as far as microtransactions go, I don't think 343 has been one of the worst offenders. Halo 5 was probably the worst thing they've done, because that was pay to win loot boxes for their brand new mode. and the game wasn't even free to play. So that's definitely their worst offense when it comes to microtransactions. Right.
And then you've got, the situation of like, okay, well, we don't want microtransactions in general. Well, no one wants microtransactions in their favorite franchise. No one wants microtransactions in Halo. No one wants them in Apex. No one wants them in Modern Warfare. They're going to be there, but no one wants them. But when it comes to Halo Infinite,
I'm sure. I think some people do. Some people. That's the truth. Some people do like that. They have the convenience of being able to just pull out their credit card and get the skin they want.
Right. But then you also have the people that are like, well, they're as expensive as Apex Legends skins. So for context, a gold Apex Legends skin, so like the legendary tier Apex Legends skin, costs I think $18 on average. $18. Their gold come in a bundle with like what is it? They come with 3 different variants and a bunch of other like shit for $10. They're probably the most underpriced and the most reasonable out of everything, but their quality. Think of the weapon skins between Halo Infinite and Apex Legends. When you look at an Apex Legends weapon skin, you're like, that is badass. That looks cool. And some of these you can earn. Some of them you can't.
Valorant.
Yeah. Valorant. Oh God. their prices are fucking insane.
Yeah, but I was pointing out like their skins are incredible looking. They look fucking sick. And then you got Halo, and it's just the most average looking shit you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, sorry. I took a bite because I thought you were gonna talk longer. But when it comes to it, Apex is one of those things. Don't want to choke. So, hold on, comrade. Editing.
No, keep it in.
Yeah. But when it comes to Apex, I've admittedly spent money on skins. I've admittedly done that. And do I regret it at some points? Yes. But at other points, do I own up to the fact that I wanted that skin and there was no way to earn it and I wanted it? Yeah, I admit to it. I've spent money on microtransactions in those games. And with Infinite, I think the only thing I've supported monetary wise was I got the battle pass and then I bought one of the esports skins because I know that the profits from that, I believe that's still the case, go back into the HCS and into the prize pool for those tournaments. And I've always been someone who has enjoyed esports, and many different companies have done microtransactions. I mean, look at what is it, Dota 2, where they would every year have the international, and like they would have like this booklet or whatever it's called. I'm probably insulting Dota players, but this like Pantheon collection thing where the proceeds from that go back into the prize pool for the tournament. If that's what companies do, if like they have the option of, hey, this skin goes back into the prize pool for pros and running these tournaments, yeah. But I think the bigger issue is, and this is something that I personally don't like, and we've seen Riot do this. They were like one of the original people to do this, but the company developing the game is also running the esport. That to me is a conflict of interest. And I think that's the reason why we've seen so many companies, including Halo, Call of Duty, you've got, Apex, all running their own tournaments instead of letting third party, ESL, you've got esports league, you've got, MLG, so on and so forth, run the tournaments instead, because there's too much profitability in esports right now for them to allow them to run their own tournaments. I think the only company that's allowed other companies to run their tournaments is Valve, and that's usually like CSGO. Like, that's just my personal take on the whole situation with that. But
I don't know. I think like 343, like I don't know. I've seen good and bad tournaments of both, from the actual developer hosting the tournament and then just some other organization. I've seen good and bad from both.
Right,
if I'm being honest.
No, I agree with that. I just am saying, I think that it's too much of a conflict of interest, and the reason why we've seen so many companies focus on like esports and like, and you've disagreed with me on this, but like appealing to the pro player, where they're trying to appeal to the feedback coming from the pros. And one of the things you brought up in your video talking about the casual versus competitive thing is, if 343 was really trying to appeal to the pros, they would just remove the mangler in general. And you said something along the lines that they can't remove it. Is that true? Like, have you seen info on that?
I was just throwing that question out there. If that's the case, if they can or not, I don't know if they can. I mean, it's because it's ridiculous that it's been in these competitive settings for so long when it's being GA'd. Like, it's not even like people are using it. Like, they're not using it, and it's just sitting there on the map. Right. That makes me think that they can't change it. Like, that's crazy.
And for the viewers out there that don't know what GA means, it means gentleman's agreement. It's like how in CSGO, there's a gentleman's agreement to not use the auto snipers and stuff like that. If a weapon's considered, too overpowered, usually there's a gentleman's agreement. This has gone back as far back as the fighting game community, when it came to throwing in Street Fighter 2 and so on and so forth. But it has been gentleman's agreement across the board from every tournament I've seen. And what I guess people really do want is just the sidekick to replace the mangler on those maps. I mean, they're both under the pistol category, right? And you've got maps that rotate out in general matchmaking, rotate out those weapon positions, but they usually keep that same type of weapon in that area. So how hard can it really be to have a map that has just the sidekick instead of running the mangler? Like, is it just that they want to feature it? Is it because they can't remove it from the map? Like, what is the actual case? Like, I don't know. Yeah. You don't know. No one knows.
I don't know. They're not showing it off when people aren't using it. So it's just weird. It was really strange. Yeah, I don't know. It was very simple to change weapons. I mean, we could switch weapons on maps in Forge back in the day, 2007. Very simple.
Yeah, exactly.
We could even choose. We even had like control over the weapons on the map in like the custom
Halo
games.
1 and Halo 2.
In Halo 1 and Halo 2. Weapons and vehicles on map. And those are custom game settings that are not present in Halo Infinite. Like, that is just insane. Like, that is,
you know what I wonder?
Beyond insane.
You know what I wonder? I wonder if when Forge comes out, are they going to update the custom game options? Like, I'm not going to be surprised if they don't, but they have not talked about fixing custom games and making custom games savable and stuff. That's still not working even almost a year. Next month is a year that this game has been out. And that's still not fixed. Theater mode is still not fixed. It's not surprising, but it's just conversations that haven't been happening.
Yeah, I can't believe it's almost been a year. Jesus Christ.
Right, November 15th.
Yeah, there's still much that is just so broken with the game. And yet there are some people out there that still have a ton of hope. I just don't get it. I'm not saying it's impossible for Halo Infinite to recover. I'm not going to say that, because it is technically possible, but it just doesn't look good at all. Like, it is... For me, it is not worth sticking around and waiting for that game to recover. Like, it is just, right now the game's fucking chalked. But I'll never say never. It could make a comeback.
But you know what's not chalked and what actually has been thriving? And we've seen a lot of people like cover this and talk about this, and I'm probably going to be covering and talking about it a lot more on my channel. But MCC mods are fucking bangers. They are absolutely killing it with the modding community. You know, I just ran a poll today on my channel about what like MCC mods would you guys like to see me cover on my channel. And you've got things like Halo 3 Combat Evolved, which has had like 2 parts to it, and it looks clean. You've got the new Halo Reborn project that has had like a demo shown recently that looks absolutely great. Then you've got funny stuff like, you know, Cursed Halo, and then you've got Halo 2, but every enemy is a sniper jackal. You've got the best of what modding has done for like Gmod and you know, all these different communities, you know, Skyrim and so on, but with Halo. And I think that that's what's going to keep the community alive, is the fan-made projects. I don't think that it should have to be, you know, kept alive and left on live support by the Halo community, but I'm not upset about it because of how well the community understands the community and understands what the community wants, you know? And there's so much variety out there. You can go from serious, you know, full-blown campaign mods to firefight mods to multiplayer mods to silly challenge mods. You have a little bit of everything, which is great about that.
Yeah, the modders have been doing incredible work, and I've played a few myself, and it's truly impressive, some of the things they are creating. I do wish, you know, 343 would kind of leverage some of that stuff, maybe make a playlist out of modded maps or something like that in MCC. There's a lot of cool Halo 3 modded remakes I've played on, or just modded remakes or modded maps in general. I think they should make a playlist out of some of that stuff.
Yeah, no, like if that was possible, if they could come to some sort of agreement, right, where, hey, we'll run an update for 2 weeks, right, and call it community featurette or something, and it'll download the mods to the game, and you could have them separate, so you could do your normal matchmaking, but you could also go into this separate playlist for, like, you know, custom mods, and you could feature those and be like, hey, if you guys like these, after the playlists are done, you could honestly go and download them off Nexus Mod. Or, hey, we added a, you know, mod tool where you don't even have to go to a third-party website. You could just download it directly off the game. Like, that'd be one. It would give, and you know, I'm not trying to give them ideas to get good coverage, but it would give them goodwill in the community, which they need now more than ever. And 2, it would be featuring people that put in a lot of free hard work to feature their work and get those projects out there for people that have never seen them and may just know, I just play competitive Halo. Well, what if this was an option that they could see, and people could be interested in, people could not be interested in it. I just think that the option should be there.
Yeah. And I mean, people wouldn't have to go to Nexus Mod to download it. What I'm talking about is like they have an update for the game, and you you bundle the maps in the update, so you just have them when you install the update,
right?
And then you add a playlist for the community maps, and there you go. And I mean, they could even do that for Forge maps, and I think they did at one point. There was a playlist for Halo 3 Forge maps, and that was cool. I enjoyed that, but I don't know. But that's the thing, though. That's the thing. We talked about microtransactions, and 343, they mentioned that they are not going to. They originally they said they were exploring the idea of purchasable Spartan points for MCC, so microtransactions, and community was upset with that, and now 343 saying they are no longer exploring that. So it's like, does that mean we're going to be getting less support for the game now? I'd imagine, maybe, right? I mean, I don't know if that has any influence on whether or not they support the game, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Right, exactly. And we had a long talk about this where it got into a heated back and forth between you and Hazop, but you did bring up a good point on if it was the idea of, we add Spartan points as a microtransaction, and that guarantees that Halo MCC will continue to get support for years to come. Is that worth, axing so that way, support would end? Basically, it was a double-edged coin, and that's a good point. Is it worth, avoiding this one microtransaction to guarantee more content, more updates coming to MCC? But at the same time, me and Hazop brought up the point of it's a slippery slope. First things first is they add these Spartan points as microtransactions. Secondly, maybe they'll go to armors, and then they'll go to this, then they'll go to that. It's a slippery slope. And you brought up some good points, but if you want to bring up that a little bit, go right ahead. Be my guest.
My point was that, it could evolve from there. It could evolve from just purchasable Spartan points. But like I was saying, we shouldn't make drastic decisions like that, because it could change. The microtransactions could become something even worse. And I was also saying, 343 has shown us that they listen to us regarding microtransactions, right? They've reduced the prices in the Halo Infinite store, and now they're listening, and now they've listened to community feedback, and they made the decision no longer pursue purchasable Spartan points in MCC. So there is evidence that things wouldn't get worse. And also, 343 can do what they want. You say it's a slippery slope. They can do what they want. If they want to add full-on loot boxes to MCC, they can do that. Right? They can do it right now. It doesn't fucking matter what we allow. They can do whatever they want.
Right. The one thing I'll say, though, is that, they could do whatever they want. Unfortunately, it would not pan out well for them. And the people say, well, Halo Infinite, we didn't want microtransactions at all, and we made that clear for months on end before the game came out, but they didn't listen to that. We knew microtransactions were going to come to Halo Infinite no matter what we did. They
don't listen to everything. Right. I mean, that's a huge demand to say no microtransactions in a fucking free game. What are we talking about here?
Right.
Yeah, of course they're not going to listen to that.
But the one thing,
I'm just saying, other aspects of microtransactions, they have shown that they listen to us. I think it is incredibly stupid to say no purchasable Spartan points because things could get worse. That doesn't make any sense to me. That things could get worse regardless of whether or not we allow that. And if that means we get continued support by them adding something as simple as purchasable Spartan points, something that you can earn in game just by playing, and they're going to grant everybody a bunch of Spartan points retroactively for previous ranks or whatever, that's just not a big deal to me. I would take
for
that.
Me, I don't even think that they need, and this is my hot take, and I know that there's going to be some people out there that are going to disagree with me when I say this. I don't even want them to retroactively do it. Just make it easier for me to earn it. Make it easier from this point forward too, because I don't want, them to just give me all the Spartan points I'll ever need based off of how far I've gotten, and then I'm never going to want to work for it. That's the one thing that I think a lot of us are missing, and maybe you can disagree with me or agree with me on this, but a lot of us are missing from games nowadays is the fact that we used to work for things. The game used to be so good and the rewards so enticing that we would work for it and we would work hard for it. Now it's just, oh, go play 5 matches of this. No, back in the day it was, you got to run through this campaign on Legendary with the Iron Skull on with 4 people all riding ghosts, and guess what, if one person dies, you gotta restart from that checkpoint, bitch. It was hard, but guess what, the rewards were worth it. We don't have that nowadays. What we have is, oh well, if you do this and you know get like 10k kills in matchmaking over the course of a month, you'll get a shoulder pad. Fuck, you know.
Yeah, like Halo 3 had less things you could earn, of course, but those things were very special and memorable, like Recon Armor and Hayabusa, and just earning various different armor pieces in Halo 3 was memorable to me, and it was I have memories with it. It was cool. You know, sometimes, you know, I will take less items that you earn in cooler ways than more customization items that you just buy with a Spartan point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think that there still needs to be that, you know, unlockability, that earnable way, you know, something special, you know, which Halo hasn't had that for a long ass time. I think the last time they had that was like Halo 4 and Halo 5. Halo 5, which honestly, the way they kind of did it was like, you know, how you would impress, you know, Bungie before it was an earnable thing to get recon. You had to like get featured on their website or something like that, or you had to create a cool map or something to get the ice corn, you know, ice unicorn or the flaming unicorn weapon skins and stuff, which I thought I'm sorry, the unicorn thing is fucking stupid. I think it's fucking stupid. Like, you couldn't come up with something better than the flaming unicorn. And I know it has to do with that Halo 4 armor with the giant horn and stuff like that. I know it has something to do with that, but God, it just looks stupid in comparison. But back to the whole, you know, microtransaction slippery slope MCC thing. When it came to, you know, the microtransactions of Infinite, the one that everyone pushed back on and everyone saw, except for a select few that were trying to find a good side to this, and let's be honest, they never found that good side because it never turned out to be a good side, was armor coding. You know, armor coatings took away player expression, which you'll hear about in every one of their little updates or live streams. We care about player expression. Then why did you take colors away? Why did you take away this feature and not just add it as, you know, if you're going to add a microtransaction, add textures, right? You can apply textures to an armor, you know, or something like that.
Or change the color pattern. Yeah.
Yeah. Or something like that, you know? But the problem is they didn't go that route because it wasn't nearly as, I guess it wasn't nearly as profitable. But even now with armor coins, they aren't that profitable because they had to reduce the price. And on top of that, no one wants to waste the money for something that should have been in the game day one for free.
Yeah, well, this current implementation of armor coatings, I don't think you have to have this to sell microtransactions like they want to. Like, again, like they could have a system where you choose your color like you could in all the other games, and then the armor coating is just something that changes the texture and the color pattern. And I think a lot of people would be okay with that. So it doesn't have to be this way just because of microtransactions. I don't conflate the two.
Yeah, I can see that. The one thing for me is like, why not do like a texture like a brush steel that you can apply to certain, you know, pieces of armor? Or
why? Because it's 343.
yeah,
why?
Exactly.
And that's the thing. That's something I want to address. I see so many people still, not so many people, but some people still just like talking about, oh, it'd be cool if 343 did this. It'd be cool if they did that. They should do this. We know what they should do. They may know what they should do, and they're just incompetent or don't care. We know what Halo Infinite needs. Like, we get it. Like, they don't need the feedback. They either don't care or they can't figure out how to do it because of incompetence. Like, it's one or the other.
Right.
You don't need to like explain this anymore.
Right, and we're not saying we know how to do this. We can give suggestions.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding.
No, okay, all right. Let's put you in front of a computer and you try and figure out how to texture this shit. But no, like we're no developers. But God, we understand the product better than they do. Like, that's the thing. We understand the audience and the product better than they do. You know, I can name a handful of people, hundreds of people that probably understand the Halo product, the Halo community, and what they want better than 343 does. Because it's not that hard. It's not that hard. But it seems like when they look at feedback, they don't look at the people that have the reasonable takes. They look at the people that are like, I want them to add the most out of left ball fucking insane wacky shit, and I'll spend money on that, and they'll listen to that instead of the more reasonable, makes sense to the like what Halo is, as well as like the lore and everything else. I mean, one of the microtransactions that they added that I thought was really cool and was a nice reference to past content was the Halo Legends pack that had the little like bear charm and stuff like that, and it was called Daisy's Grave or something like that, and it was based around that little short from Halo Legends, which was honestly, why have we not gone back to like the idea of doing an anime Halo? Why not? Why haven't we gone back to that?
That'd be cooler than this live action bullshit.
Oh God, don't even get me started. We spent hundreds of millions of dollars on a Halo TV show where the character doesn't act like the character. It's woke as fuck, and there's a sex scene where literally Cortana sits there and gets blue balls, and literally I could make so many jokes if you just muted the audio and just let someone voice over. I could write so many fucking jokes about that scene. But the fact that we spent millions of dollars on that, and the majority of the community, even the people that love 343 and will never speak a bad word about them, said it was shit. We spent millions of dollars on that. We're making a season 2 of that, but we never revisit the idea of a Halo Legends 2. Like, it's baffling. It's absolutely baffling.
Yeah, I mean, I never watched all of Halo Legends. It's been a while. But yeah, that I would definitely prefer that, like an animated series over what we got with the Halo TV show.
Right. And like all those stories were like either non-canon or they were side stories of like things that weren't related to the Master Chief. They weren't like tied into the main storyline besides the Origins 1 and 2, I think it was called. So that was really about it. But this was the final topic I wanted to talk about. And this is a hot button issue. And this is a thing that gets thrown around, and you and me have talked about this, and I don't want to go on too much. I'm not going to name names, but the word 343 shill, 343 simp, it gets thrown around so frivolously, right? It gets thrown around so much, and people who get like, there are people that are labeled as it that do act that way, but then there are people that if you like one thing that's done in modern Halo or that 343's done, it automatically null and voids any criticism you've thrown at the company. You can make an 18-minute video talking about, I don't like this, and this. But if you said, hey, I like this aspect, then you simp for 343. Like, has that happened to you? I'm sure it has.
I think it has. I think it's been a while. I think I do recall. My memory's kind of shot, but I think it did used to happen to me. Maybe actually during the Halo Infinite beta, or the flights or whatever they did, because I judged that game. I was judging the beta, or not the beta, the flight, whatever it was, on what it was. I was judging the gameplay and what I was experiencing in that. And I mentioned that I was enjoying what I was playing there. I was having fun. And none of my opinions on like the Halo Infinite tech previews have changed. Like the way I felt about the game then, like I still enjoy those same things about Halo Infinite now. It's just that Halo Infinite now, I'm judging it as a final game that's been in development for 6 years, because that's what it is. Or at least they had 6 years. So I think during that time when I was having fun with the game during the technical previews, I may have been they may have called me a shill or whatever.
Yeah, like that happened to me, and it still happens to me. Like I try and be fair whenever I cover the updates and stuff. Like whenever I've covered them, like whether it's MCC or Infinite, I'll usually have a pretty solid mind of like, this isn't good. Why would they fucking do this? Oh, I like this. It's like one of the things that you and me both, I think you got heat for this and I got heat for it, is saying that the Halo Infinite Spartans are some of the best looking Spartans we've seen in the entire franchise. Like,
okay, listen.
Yeah.
I did say that. And here's the thing, like when I said that, I meant like the textures on the armor.
Yeah.
Like how like battle worn and shit it looks. The actual textures on the armor. Maybe not the armor itself.
Right.
I'm talking about the textures and stuff. And I stand by that. Now, some of the armor, some of the Spartans like you see in Infinite looks stupid. Like, just don't look good at all. I'm not talking about that. I was basically just talking about the textures. That looks really good. Like, if you took, I don't know, the Halo 3, Mark 6 armor, and you took an Infinite armor texture and slapped it onto that, it would look better. Like, that's what I was talking about.
Like, the undersuits didn't look bad in Halo Infinite. Like, they look better than Halo 4 and 5s, like, by a long shot, right? But people didn't listen to, oh, hey, I think that the textures and, the wear and tear on this, model looks nice. No, they just heard that as, you like the Spartans in Halo Infinite? Fuck you! That's all they heard. And I've seen it, like, so much division in the Halo community where people could agree on certain aspects, but if they like one little thing, you're automatically the enemy. It's just it's insane.
Yeah, and like you explained, like you said, you're fair to 343 and you acknowledge the things they do well and criticize the things they do wrong. And I've been that way as well, and that's why I wasn't jumping the gun. I wasn't getting ahead of myself when I played the technical preview. I was just, judging that as if it was a technical preview. My opinions, of course I hold a final game to a higher standard.
Yeah.
But I'm almost at the point now where like I don't even feel like being fair to them anymore. Like I'm kind of at that point. Like when Forge drops, and if it's amazing, I just feel like being, all right, fuck you. Now fix the rest of the game. Finish the rest of the game. Right. Like I feel like not even giving them credit on that anymore. Not at this point. Not when the game is still unfinished and it's going to be unfinished for God knows how long. Yeah, I don't feel like giving them credit for the things they do good at this point. Like, finish the fucking game, and then I can praise you on Forge and all the other things that, were actually good.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, they're talking about having certain aspects of the game done by the end of 2023. We're not even at the end of 2022. This game in 1 month and 13 days is going to be 1 year old. It's going to be 1 year old, and it's still nowhere near as feature or content heavy as any of the past Halo games from like 2007 upward. And a lot of those, minus Halo 5, had enough content come from launch. And then Halo 5, they had didn't they have a majority of their content by like 6 months to a year? I'm pretty sure with Halo 5 they did.
Halo 5 got I don't remember when Theater came, or was when Firefight got added, but I think Forge got added a month and a half after launch.
Right, and then Infection got added like 6 or 8 months, and Griffball and stuff like that. Halo
5. I mean, Infinite's the live service game, and it's like other Halo games, especially Halo 5, did a much better job at live service than what Infinite's doing.
Right.
We're not in Infinite. We're not getting. We got 2 new developer-made maps with Season 2, but we're not getting another 2 until Season 3. And Season 3 begins in March of 23, I believe.
Yeah.
And we don't even know for sure those maps are coming at the beginning of the season, so who knows when we will get them during the season. It'll probably be the beginning, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not. It's just ridiculous how long it's taking us to get new maps, and those new maps we're getting for Season 3 don't even look that different aesthetically from what we've already seen in the game. It's more just like
UNSC base.
Yeah, it's more just UNSC base, mountains, grass, like something you'd see in the fucking campaign. Like,
dude, I'm not even kidding you.
Purple Covenant ship, where's that at?
I want fucking snow. That's all I goddamn
snow
want.
map, desert map. Yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing?
And
I think that might be a result of them not making money directly off of maps, because we don't do map packs anymore. A lot of games don't. We do this live service model where the maps are free, but we have microtransactions. So there's less of an incentive for them to make quality maps, because that's not directly what is making them money, because the maps are free. That's free.
Right, exactly. And they had this issue with Halo 5 Guardians. I remember when, they said, oh, well, you're going to get free maps, new free map every, 2-3 months, I think, something like that. And they came out with them. They were just reskins of maps we already had. They were just reimaginings, their words exactly, not mine, of maps we already had, except for a select handful.
I think they called them remixes. I think that's what it was.
Remixes.
Map remixes.
Yeah, some shit like that. And besides the select few that came out, there were remixes of the new maps. There were remixes of the remixes. It was insane.
Like how they try to make that sound cool. Oh, remixes. All right, so you just mean just laziness. Okay, like just call it what it is.
I would much rather spend $10, $15, $20 on a solid map pack that had quality, well done, from the ground up built maps than wait, what is it? 6, 3, normally it's supposed to be 3 months, but waiting 6, a year, whatever, for 2 maps. And those maps are just slopped together, like could be Forge map quality map, and that's the thing that drives me nuts is like, I remember Halo 3, Halo Reach, when you got a map pack, it was like, oh my God, look what they've done. Look at all the new stuff that they've added. Look at, how the Warthog slides across the ice on Avalanche. Look at how, Foundry was like the beginning of what Forge could really be. Like Forge was a great tool, and then they added Foundry, and it's like, oh my God, I've got all this space. And then you had Sandbox and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's huge.
And then with Reach, you had Forge World, which was an entire like map dedicated for forging. It didn't turn out the best maps because the textures of all the Forge items were exactly the fucking same, but you had that option. You had that feature, and then they expanded upon it. But the problem is that instead of saying, look, we're going to be charging our users $15, $20 for this map pack, we've got to make it good or they're not going to spend. They're too busy thinking of, well, it'll divide the community if we sell these.
Yeah, well, I mean, some people look at that. Look, my take on that, I mean, basically you mean like how they lock people out of playlists who don't have the maps, right? I mean, basically my take on that is, I don't think you should be locking people out of playlists that they could access before the map pack released. I don't know how complicated this would be to pull off, but I think players should still be able to search all the same playlists. They just don't match others. They just match other people that don't have the map pack, Right. I don't think they should be locked out of the playlist. I mean, I think that's kind of scummy. But overall, like, I'd still take the map pack system over the free-to-play option the free-to-play live service option that we have now.
Right, and you're saying like they should do this in playlists, dude. It takes them 3 months to come out with one playlist or something like that. You expect them to do something as complicated as that? Jesus.
Yeah.
You got some high expectations there. No, I'm kidding.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Like, think about this. Like, let's say that, I bought the new map pack for Halo Infinite and you didn't, right? How hard is it?
Are you calling me broke?
No. It's a scenario. It's not real. Okay. Here's the scenario. I'm playing on my PC with a 4080 Ti, and you're playing on
my broke ass.
Yeah, your broke ass is playing on the original Fat Boy VCR fucking Xbox One, and you're playing at sub 30 frames, and you've got that hooked up to a CRT using some sort of converter. You're not even, using HDMI, you're using a converter and it's cracked down the middle, something like that. And we're playing. How hard could it be of, this guy doesn't have the map pack, this guy does, let's disable the map pack for the guy who does while he's searching with this other player? Like, yeah, I think other games have done that.
And it's never been a big deal to me back in the day, like when other people didn't have the map pack. Because, I mean, first off, I usually bought the map packs in the games that I played back in the day.
Yeah.
Like Halo, Call of Duty. It was never an issue. Like, if somebody didn't have a map pack, I would just go play a playlist, that didn't require it with them. And that was it. And then when they weren't on, or I would go play the map pack by myself, or I'd find other people that had it. It was never that big of a deal to me. And I'm not just saying that just because like I purchased map packs back in the day. Like, even if I didn't buy map packs, I think I would still prefer that system. But I can understand why people prefer the live service system if they don't want to spend money on map packs and they prefer the free stuff. But then, like I said, if it's free, there's less of an incentive for them to make it good.
Yeah, there's less accountability for them to keep quality high, I would say. For me, I personally, I've always had that hot take, and everyone has given me shit every time I've brought it up. whenever I've been like, man, if we went back to the map pack system, we would begin some good quality ass maps. I hope. I mean, it's 343.
You don't know with them.
Right. But I mean, I think that even COD would be releasing better maps and better, like, interesting ideas if they.
Do you remember World at War's map packs?
Oh yeah,
those were insane. Like I mean, the maps themselves, honestly, the multiplayer maps weren't anything special, but it was like the zombies maps. That shit was so fucking hype, man. We got Verrucht in the first map pack, and then we got Chino Numa, and then Darius, if I'm pronouncing those right. And that shit was so hype. Even go back and watch the trailers for those map packs. They're so good.
Black Ops 1's even. I remember. Okay.
Yeah, they were pretty good too.
Here's a little story time. I've told this story a million times on live stream, but I'd never have told you this story. Okay. Back when I was in high school, me and my buddies in 2011, 2012, before Black Ops 2 came out, right? We would have this ritual on Friday where we would get off at school, out of school at like 2:05. We got out of school. We would go and we would head home. We would play for like a few hours until like 6, have dinners with our family and so on and so forth. And then we would all, like, I was the one in the group that had the car. I had a beautiful Pontiac Firebird, 1990, was it 96 or it was a 1984, 1996 Pontiac Firebird with the T-tops. And I would go and I would grab 3 of my buddies. I would grab Danny, I would grab Jason, I would grab Marcus. And we'd all pile into my Firebird, this tiny ass car, 3 big dudes, and we would go to Subway. We'd go to Subway. Everyone would get their sandwiches. Everyone would, pay up, get their sandwiches. Then we'd go to Walmart. We would get a case of Rockstar each, like the little, quad packs with like 4 of them. Hell, like sometimes I would buy the big old packs of them. And I'd drop everyone off. This was back before we were in the middle of a recession and gas prices were fucking insane. But I would drop everyone off, go back home, get on Xbox Live, and we would play from like 9 o'clock at night until the sun came up at 6, 7 a.m. We would play all night long, and we would not stop playing until we got the Easter egg off the newest map. And we did that together as a group, and that was memories I will never get back. Those are memories that I don't think we will ever be able to re-experience unless we got like a group like you, me, and some others to do something like that. And even then, we've never met. We've never met locally. Like it's an entirely different experience back when you were young, 17, 18, and you did this shit with your buddies. And now, like, people don't have that experience anymore because of whether it's COVID or, life.
Yeah, I mean, part of it, though, some people say, like, I mean, this is actually what an upcoming video of mine's about, is, like, nostalgia. Some people, like, accuse you of only having these fond memories of these times. It's because of nostalgia. It wasn't necessarily because the game was good or the experience was good. It's just nostalgia. It's just rose-tinted glasses. But no, I feel I do have nostalgia with a lot of these older games and the memories I had there. But it's like it's not just nostalgia why I think those things are good, why I thought COD 4 and Halo 3 were good. No, there's multiple reasons that I can point to as to why those things were so incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, it isn't just all nostalgia. No, those moments really were just that good. And you mentioned how it'd be different, like doing something like that now. And, part of that is because, well, one, I argue games and DLC and all that stuff. A lot of that stuff was better back then, but also it was newer. Like you were experiencing these things for the first time back then.
The golden age or whatever it's called.
That's part of it. Like some things, you've just kind of become numb to. It's not as new and fresh anymore.
Yeah.
But that's not, but I do want to make it clear, a lot of games and stuff were definitely better. We're definitely better back then, in my opinion, than they are now. I'm not just saying it's just like, oh, it's just not new anymore and that's why you don't like it. No, a lot of the old shit was definitely better.
I mean, comparing 2022 to like, you and me have discussed like the year 2007. Really think about 2007 and everything we got that year. We got the first Assassin's Creed game. We got the Orange Box, which was a collection of Half-Life games, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, which was the new game, Team Fortress 2 and Portal for $60. That alone was an insane deal. You had the first what was it?
God 4 was 2007.
Yeah, 2007 was that.
2006 I think was Gears. BioShock was around that time. Mass Effect was around that time.
Yep, all 2007.
It's just like what are we doing, man? Like I mean, those games are just, I mean, we got huge games, like, and now what are we getting now? Like, I don't even know. Like, what's coming out?
Bad Company 1, I think, came
Bad
around.
Company, fucking phenomenal. Like, it's just, there was just so many good games.
Borderlands, I think it was 2008, I think, maybe, like, right around there. Like, it was the golden age of game. I'm right now looking over at my shelf of games and what came out around that time, and I'm just like banger, like banger after banger. And now you look at it's like, well, here's COD, and we're gonna slap Modern Warfare 2 on it to hopefully get the nostalgia points going and use characters that, you know, are beloved.
And then last year we got like the most boring Call of Duty game of all time, Vanguard. Battlefield 2042 didn't even fucking work. Halo Infinite is ass. Like, things are just so bad right now.
You know it's bad whenever
in this way, and it's
You know it's bad whenever people were saying that they would rather play Halo Infinite over COD and Battlefield because COD was like completely balls boring, and then you got Battlefield, which was actually legitimately unplayable. You know, it's bad.
It was bullshit though when people were praising Infinite during that time. Oh, look at Infinite, man! Infinite's not as bad as Vanguard and Battlefield. I'm like, have you guys played the fucking game? Are you guys aware of how bad Infinite actually is? I'd say it's worse. I mean, Battlefield is recovering. Like, no, Infinite is awful in comparison to even those games. Like, Jesus.
Like, at least COD Vanguard was a complete game from what I remember. It was a complete game. It was just
had a ton of maps at launch.
Right. It was just boring. That was the problem. It was boring. That's it. Like, look at Modern Warfare 2. I'm sure that Modern Warfare 2 is going to come out as a complete game. I hope. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, you know, whatever I got to do.
It looks like we're going to have a ton of content.
The campaign
we got the campaign. We got the multiplayer. We're going to have the DMZ and the Warzone not too long after launch. We're going to have raids, apparently, Spec Ops mode, hopefully gunfight, maybe a ranked mode. There's going to be a lot there.
Right. And even Vanguard had a ton of stuff to it. But then just saying, well, Call of Duty's boring, so I would rather play this broken, incomplete, free-to-play game that doesn't even, like, scratch the fucking surface. You know, it's just, me. It's just baffling. That has been another episode of the Around the Ring podcast featuring my good friend and, you know, someone who I consider a good friend, Popq. And, you know, I'll send you the $50 over PayPal after the podcast is over.
You better.
Yeah, I mean, shit, your rates are fucking insane. Anyways, but that has been another episode. Edit that out, comrade. That has been another episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, leave a like on it. If you dislike it, go ahead and leave a dislike on it. If you guys want to see more of this, or hell, maybe even convince Popq to be a permanent co-host, then let us know down in the comment section down below. And until next time, GamerJlee, Popq2, signing out.